Hi, I'm Benjamin Bernstein with astroshaman.com, and I'm here to talk to you about my newly tender heart. It was I think it's about 3 weeks ago, and I was in a very overdriven, very workaholic kind of phase because I think I was just getting ready to launch my second membership, and oh yeah, sorry, it wasn't even the membership. It was pulling together my 2020 astrology forecast and all the intense prep for that. And Maeikisala, my beloved partner, was getting frustrated with me because I wasn't spending enough time with her. And when I did, it was just sort of a brush pass, and I didn't really realize how closed down my heart was to her. And finally, she just sat me down and said, "Hey, this is really not working for me. I really need more energy from you." And I said, "I'm so sorry. I'm working so hard. And as soon as I get this, astrology forecast presentation delivered, I'll definitely be more open to you." And I was doing the best I knew how at the time. And she understood that, and still it wasn't enough. And so what was needed was a miracle. And so that's actually what happened. And I honestly can't say I did anything to initiate it, but I just, at some moment, just felt my heart open and loosen and soften. And all of a sudden, I had this blinding flash of the obvious, as I like to call these things, but it's not obvious until it is, where I just all of a sudden, I was so open-hearted and tender with her, and I realized I could just, even if I just took 30 seconds or a minute, even if I was in a rush, just stop, give her a hug, give her a squeeze, give her a kiss, and just really have the heart be open when I do it. That's the connection that she was missing. And I didn't even know my heart wasn't open. I have a phrase I use, which is, a level of consciousness cannot comprehend a level beyond itself. And that's where I was. I didn't know how open my heart was not. And since then, it's been awesome, because now my heart has just stayed open at this new level. And I can liken it back to way back in 2012, when I was starting to have a spiritual awakening experience in ayahuasca ceremonies, and I'd be awakened and I'd have this extraordinary state, and then I'd go to sleep and wake up the next morning, it would be gone. I'd be back to just being Benjamin again. How frustrating that was. That happened a couple of times, and then I finally went down to Peru for a month and did 10 ceremonies and a month-long dieta, and it finally opened for real and stayed open, the awakening part. And in fact, there was an experience there around the heart I'll share with you too that seems relevant. So my new heart opening with Maeikisala, I liken to that, where there have been glimmers of a heart opening, but it opened to a level I just didn't even know was there. And it's very tender. That's why I call this episode My Newly Tender Heart, because it's sensitive, and just feeling the world is a lot more tender for me now. And it kind of hurts a little bit sometimes to feel the more jangly energies of the world. I mean, I've felt them my whole life. They didn't bother me. But now I feel them a little more fully, and I'm having to become accustomed to the tenderness. I've heard awakened masters say, awakening isn't just about the bliss. You feel the pain of the world too. You feel all of it. You are all of it. There's no shutting out anything. And I think I've just taken a very small step in that direction, with that more fully open heart and feeling all of it a little bit more. I have a little more compassion for my super high sensitivity clients, my highly sensitive people clients. And it's just, I am beginning to get a glimmer of more like what they are, because I came from the other direction. I was so shut down, and for decades tried to have some kind of awakening, some kind of heart opening, and barely made any progress at all. It wasn't until I started doing plant spirit work with ayahuasca in San Pedro that the blasting caps, so to speak, started coming out and getting those layers off. In fact, speaking of which, let me mention that one ceremonial experience that is relevant to this story. This happened years ago, and it was when I was in the jungle in Peru doing a dieta, and I think it was actually the month-long where I did 10 ceremonies, actually. And this was just so sudden. I was just sitting there in ceremony, having whatever my experience was at the time, and out of nowhere, like just total shock, there was like a spring-loaded trap door. It was right over my heart chakra, and it just like slammed open. And I went from my usual state of, not being super emotionally sensitive. All of a sudden, it was like just massive sensitivity. My heart felt everything. It was like going from zero to wide open in no time at all. And I kid you not, it was so intense. I took 4 or 5 minutes in that ceremony to catch my breath after that happened. It was just so intense, feeling so much in the heart. And so that was a rather dramatic. Of course, the shaman I was working with enjoys drama and intense experiences like that. So I've learned that ceremonies reflect the style of the shaman. Another shaman's heart opening might have been gentler, but that was this guy's style. Anyhow, there's a similar, I mean, this is not as extreme as that, where I went from being so closed without even knowing it to super wide open and just feeling the radical extreme, to just now it is more open, but it's more like a little more open, a little more gentle. There's definitely some sensitivity and some tenderness, but I'm starting to get used to it now. And I just love that it feels like a solid, stable heart opening to a new level. So again, it goes back to that idea, you don't know what you don't know. A level of consciousness doesn't know the next level yet. And now that I'm at this next heart opening level, it's awesome. I wouldn't trade it for anything. I'll happily feel a little more of the pain of the world if that's what it takes to feel a little more of this awesome love with my beloved and others too. With Maeikisala, we're soul romantic partners with each other, but to feel just the energy of like platonic love, spiritual love with others is just so beautiful. So anyhow, just wanted to share a little bit about my recent experience. And I share it also to say, I have no doubt whatsoever that there are levels of heart opening and divine love that I still have no clue about. I've gotten to the level I'm at now, but I'm sure there are beings who feel a much faster love than I even have a clue about. But I'm just happy to have taken this one little step forward, and maybe this will encourage you too, if you're feeling like you're not as fully open in your heart as you want to be. Just keep doing the best you can. Sometimes a miracle does come. For me, this literally just opened for no reason at all. I mean, I was wanting to open. I certainly had the desire to be more open to my beloved, but I didn't know what to do beyond what I was already doing. So then when I said, man, he's doing his best, let's cut him a break. Let's just open it. And it opened. It was wonderful. So I wanted to share this with you. And I guess that's it. If you have any questions or comments about any of this, I love your feedback. So below this video, there should be an area to put some comments, and you can, comment, ask questions. I'll happily reply back if you have any questions about this. And I hope you found this edifying. This time I didn't give a technique, but more just like an idea of what's possible. So as always, as I close, I want to mention that if you have any interest in working with me, I do astrology and shamanic healing and awakening activation. I also have a couple of memberships. One called Awakening Plus will support you in your spiritual awakening as part of a group process, and the other is the Astrology Mentoring Membership, where you can learn more about astrology. All that's described on astroshaman.com. Just kind of explore the homepage and you'll see all that stuff. So thank you for watching. It's been a pleasure to share this with you. I love you, and goodbye for now.